Most of the alteration of the water regime is simply due to the water itself being directed by humans and their needs. But while McCoy didn't have quite the right idea, when you are building a massive, ecologically degrading complex adjacent to an ecosystem, you cannot just offset your impact. It doesn't work like that. What you can do is try to study your land and ensure that what you do there you can do ecologically. What you do there you can do while still serving the functions of all the other things that live here, that make the nutrients you need to live, that clean the air you need to breathe, and the water you need to drink. And little tiny beech trees like this can start to make way for more big red oaks like that. Wouldn't that be something beautiful? We do have a lot of businesses that try to offset their impact when it's all across the board. Companies like IKEA, who will have, vast amounts of assets across countless industries and many, many middlemen. Then it makes sense to buy a piece of undeveloped land and restore it or preserve it to try and offset your impact, because your impact is spread out all over the board. You couldn't get every single thing, This is not an example of that. This is right next to the very source of its degradation. And just because you block off this land to be preserved does not mean it's spared from that degradation. We can't blame McCoy and his mere lack of education in the matter, and everyone's lack of education in the matter, for this land's continued degradation. After all, because of him, it's available as an opportunity for us to save a piece of vital ecosystem. But big part of it is getting the locals on board, and that has been an issue. While people love these woods, they often love them for the wrong reasons, as this mountain bike trail should evidence, and as should the occasional beer can evidence as well. So we have some issues where it's very hard for the village to acquire some of these more vital pieces, such as the mouth of the McCoy Creek, which is right over there on the other side of the highway. We're going to go visit right now. Hopefully it'll be under protection soon, but a big part of the problem has simply been their lack of enthusiasm. The people don't see the importance of this. They don't see how much money it can save and how much money it can generate. They don't see how much it improves their quality of life. Oftentimes it's just because what we're used to are these degraded environments. People walk through these woods, they don't know that anything's wrong. But the fact is, you should be able to see into your woodlands, Our culture, our heritage is white people was not born here. We don't have that kind of connection to the land where we have a sort of cultural understanding of what's good for it being good for us. Because we came here in the first place to exploit. Now, we're trying to reverse some of the some of those perspectives. We're also trying to reverse engineer people's philosophies about it and trying to get them on board. And for lack of a better description, we're trying to get people to understand that you can exploit the land, but the best way to do so for the longest period of time possible is by, sustainable methods. That's what conservation is, much more than as opposed to preservation. That's conservation right there. Conserving your natural resources. And this, you see the remnants, the little piddling out swale that would have once been a much more lively and running delta, small delta. Let's check it out. So what has this to do with conservation and preservation? Well, let's compare two definitions of the terms. Some ecosystems contain rare and sensitive species and all that. Well, this can make for a unique and inspiring experience wherein humans can witness the miraculous dynamism of life. It can also yield species with special adaptations that teach humans more about how to solve problems of engineering, climate, food, and just so many things. This is preservation. but it's usually most necessary for the survival of species that are important to the survival of our species. Wetlands support the life cycles of half of our threatened or endangered species and numerous economically important ones, and are the world's key tool for floods, tides, coastal natural disasters, carbon storage, nutrient retention, and water pollutant processing, and more. And like most ecosystems, these functions increase consistently with increasing biodiversity. However, in the U.S., we have only 46.6% of our pre-white settlement wetlands remaining. Illinois and some other states have lost over 70%, and we lose over 50,000 acres more nationwide every year. Now, on the other hand, some ecosystems, if left to their own devices, could benefit from our creativity and even our disturbance. Some ecosystems, when strategically and observantly tended by human hands, will actually become more biodiverse. This is conservation, ideally. There are examples around the world of agricultural customs and societal customs where human changes to the environment are beneficial because they benefit the environment as well. And these practices, sometimes with some refinement, help us learn ways to compensate for functions that humans have eliminated, such as using our livestock, not just to feed us, but to replace a natural disturbance regime that we nearly destroyed 2 centuries ago: bison. Different regions will warrant different balances of preservation and conservation. However, any place and every place is subject to one or both. Even our cities and train yards and backyards can play a part in restoring ecosystem functions to our world. Without these functions, we're depriving ourselves too. Look for the deer trails, all right? Where they have trampled has already been trampled many times, many times over, and oftentimes they are much smarter than people when it comes to navigating the woods, so their trails will often be the best bet for evading a lot of obstacles, as long as you don't consider mud an obstacle. Deer don't give a shit about mud. Hey! It's our friend Skunk Cabbage. I was hoping to find some of you guys down here. Look at that. Yeah, it smells like skunk. These plants here, fun fact, that shit can warm up to about 75 degrees Fahrenheit. And melt the snow above it also provides a warm place for insects to come, encouraging them to come pollinate it. The fact that it smells like skunk and carrion at the same time is also very, very helpful. Oh, I love these guys. There's probably more, so let's really be, yeah, there's more. Oh yeah, there's more. So let's really watch our step down here. Let's be very careful. There's bald cypresses? What the shit? What is this? All right. Let's start breaking this down. You see why these are important? This is runoff. This is oil, all kinds of nasty compounds that come from your car. Things that belong deep underneath the earth or non-existent entirely, that we have dredged up and are spilling into our ecosystems everywhere. How kind of us. And that's why we need these wetlands, because they're some of the only places capable of cleaning this up. The plants here, they can do the job for us if we have enough of them. If we only have a few little tiny patches of wetlands punctuating our vast civilizations, then we're not going to get those benefits. Also, these are bald cypresses, Taxodium disticum. And they got knees and everything. They're not very old at all. These are probably 10 to 20, maybe 30, because they are slow growers. But the thing is, they're in a straight line. These were definitely planted here. I don't know by who or why, but Taxodium disticum, interestingly enough, despite being a southern plant, it only is conserved to that extent, partially due to glaciers, of course, as with many things. And partially because in their first few years of growth, they do need above freezing temperatures in winter and in the growing season. But once they get to a certain age, they can tolerate it. So if you go down to southern Illinois, you'll see a few more of these because they are much more likely to get a few years in a row without freezing temperatures. But it's not frequent enough that you see these guys everywhere. So that's really interesting. Let's advance, shall we? Let's run down real quick. Why is this so important? How does it perform these functions? I'll just go over it real quick for you. That these wetlands, it is not just the plants and their, them filtering nutrients through their roots and stuff, because you got too many toxins in an environment, the plants will die. However, the thing with wetlands is that there's an incredible amount of retention here. Not just of carbon, of course, because you have countless leaves every single year and countless wetland plants. All of this top growth that you see here, every single year, it's got to grow anew, and then it absorbs a ton of carbon, and then it drops. And one of the key differences between this as opposed to, say, a woodland is that all of this stuff drops into water, where it's sealed away, and where microorganisms will have decades to work on this stuff and turn it into some high quality products, not some sweatshop nutrients. No, we're talking about quality artisanal nutrients, you know what I mean? So that's what they're doing here. And they don't just do that with carbon, of course, but with excesses of nitrogen, which are very common with farm runoff because of the fertilizers we use. We have toxins that can get sealed away in the peat and the mud here. Heavy metals and stuff that shouldn't be in your water streams, like copper and aluminium. Why did I call it aluminium? What the fuck? Anyway, damn it, copper and aluminum and other heavy metals that will sink to the bottom of these wetlands and be locked away under inches and inches, sometimes feet of peat, where they will slowly be decayed and broken down and slowly leached out in manageable amounts by the microorganisms present in here. And then they'll go through the roots of the plants and everything. But here we are, guys. This is the mouth. This is one of the most ecologically important areas. There's a muskrat hole that I almost fell into. This is one of the most ecologically important areas in Buchanan and along the St. Joseph River, perhaps. This is the mouth of the McCoy Creek, and it pours right into the St. Joseph River. There are eagles nesting here, swans, herons. There is countless species of fish that congregate here and spawn here too. So a lot of your fishing in this immediate stretch of the river happens because of this. They're kingfishers. There's so many conservative and rare species. Owls, pileated woodpeckers. We have all kinds of turtles, lots of different species of frogs, all kinds of snakes. You get just incredible abundance, all converging right here. Right here. But this land is private, and for what? For what? What is it being used for? You tell me. It doesn't look so bad. It's not like it's horribly degraded. Just to introduce locals to the abundance and beauty that in the sophisticated scientific processes that are constantly happening here all seasons of the year, we might be able to break through to more people, And on top of that, having it, active attention being paid towards it, we could have people stewarding this land and ensuring that it can be even healthier than it is now. It certainly could use some work, and that it stays healthy. Maximizing biodiversity, that will maximize ecosystem functions, and ecosystem functions aren't just for wildlife, guys. Remember that. It's not just for the wildlife. We depend on that stuff. Everything we have, everything we know is a result of ecosystem functions. So when you have such a place that can perform multitudes of these functions, what are we doing with it besides protecting it? What else would we do with it? Also, one more really important thing. This is flood prevention right here. This great big space of porous, water retentive soil with all these hydrophytic plants. I'm pretty sure that's a term, hydrophytic. And they love water. And they're really good at absorbing it. So if you don't like floods, but you like breathing and eating and drinking and stuff, and let's work on this place. And I urge everyone in Buchanan, I love your town. I love Berrien County. The Southwest Michigan, it is my home away from home. And I want to leave an impression on people here that, you live on incredibly valuable, diverse land. The land, all the reasons that you love it for, they're maintained by that stupendous ecological diversity. And I really hope the people here step up more than they already have, because they've done quite a bit, actually, all things considered, and really try to help their land, because it will only help them right back. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Come visit Berrien County. Bring some money to rural America. They got shat on. Come on. Yeah, bring your money here. Come on over, folks. Got lots of dispensaries. Shit. Is that your thing? Alright, that's where I was. Just following this trail. Where does this go? I don't know. I see something. There's a canoe? Yeah, it's a canoe. That's good. Some alliums. Lots of allium popping up. Oh, yeah, okay, I'm on private property. Let's go this way.